When a human being is born in this world, he will automatically sign an agreement of entering a never-ending road of problems. The problem might vary in each stage of his life. Every moment passes through in overcoming those problems until he goes for his final sleep. In that process, he may get jealous or feel bad about his own life by comparing with others. This is fine and quite normal. When we shift the focus lens to probably any other person on this world, the story remains the same. Because it is how the way we design our human life throughout millions of years of evolution. By this, it is clear that everyone in this world has a handful amount of problems running in day-to-day life, and no one is really happy. In this age of decision fatigue due to excess amount of information, people tend to believe that buying expensive cars, dinners and other luxury items is the main form of happiness. Well, the concept of this video is rooted back from the previous one. When you view an ad from a consumer perspective, you focus on the product, the happiness it brings to you, and how can you get it. When we trace the topic of happiness, there is no one better in this world who had ever existed to explain about it, rather than the Aristotle. He often states a term while he talks about happiness: eudaimonia. So, in this episode of Mature Beings, we will travel back in time to ancient Rome to discuss about happiness, the way how Aristotle stated his opinion, and how to be happy in most of the time. Before that, if you're new here, then welcome to the tribe. For a lifetime growth, improvement and transformation topics, become a part of our tribe by subscribing that red eye catchy subscribe button below the video. If you're done subscribing, then let's enter into the show. What is happiness? It probably seems like an odd question, but is it? Do you know how to define happiness? If yes, then great, but I don't. So I did exactly the same as any other person do in this world. I straightly went to Google and searched for happiness meaning. And I got this as a result. Happiness is a state of being happy. Seriously? I was not expecting that answer. Then I dived a bit more deeper and searched for happy. And this time, I got a reasonable answer. Feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. Oh, now let's begin our hunt for happiness. When we focus on what we just got before, it all reflects on a point that those meanings are not sufficient to boldly define happiness in a single statement. But we can derive two important points. 1. Happiness is a state, which means it isn't permanent. 2. Happiness can be either a feeling or showing, meaning that happiness is not necessarily an internal or external experience, but can be both. Happiness, as we described above, is a state characterized by feelings of contentment and satisfaction with one's life or current situation. On the other hand, pleasure is more visceral in the moment of experience. It often refers to the sensory-based feelings we get from the experience, like eating food, getting a massage, receiving a compliment, or having sex. Happiness, while not a permanent state, but is more stable state than pleasure. Happiness generally sticks around for longer than few moments at a time, whereas pleasure comes and goes in seconds. We can be happy by almost anything which thrills our inner self, or when we experience a crazy surprise. But we are in 21st century and are enclosed between branded companies and high-feature products. We always have a craving to get those either by our own interest or by peer pressure. So, happiness is objective in our case. Which means we are always made to hunt for happiness, either as simple as the McDonald's Happy Meal or a free drink in the happy hour. As the time passes, happiness is molding itself to make us believe that it is an objective. The problem of this is we are all conditioned in a large level to feel happy only by using the products offered by the companies. It makes us twice more unhappy than we normally are. Later, every person experiences this stage and realizes that his life is becoming meaningless without the products. So, it is the perfect time to know about the ancient wisdom and make our lives better from one of the best Greek philosophers of all time, Aristotle. Aristotle, was a Greek philosopher and a polymath. He was the student of Plato and the mentor of Alexander the Great. He is widely known for his work and contribution in many fields. Aristotle is the founder of zoology, contributed to physics, advanced in meteorology, wrote about politics, psychology, and ethics. That's why Aristotle is a big deal. Here, we will discuss about his work on ethics. The two groundbreaking books on ethics, Eudemian Ethics and Nicomachean Ethics, are under his name. In these both, the most popular work is Nicomachean Ethics, which is of 10 books. Surprisingly, his concept of ethics has a core point on happiness. Happiness is of two kinds, objective and subjective. Here, happiness refers to the objective well-being, or in simple terms as materialistic, as the studies set by the government to measure the happiness of the citizens on an international scale. Since 2013, every year on 20th March, the United Nations celebrate the International Day of Happiness, which seeks to promote measurable happiness by ending poverty or reducing inequality. Instead, the other party is understanding happiness subjectively. To them, happiness is not similar to well-being, but to contentment or felicity. According to this view, no spectator can know if someone is happy or not. And it is possible that most outwardly energetic person might be suffering from a deep sadness. This subjective happiness can be described but cannot be measured. Aristotle was the first philosopher to inquire into the second kind of subjective happiness. He developed a sophisticated human program for becoming a happy person, and it remains valid to till date. In developing his theory of happiness, Aristotle drew upon his knowledge about nature. He contended that what separates man from animal is rational capacity, arguing that humans' unique function is to reason. He went on to say that pleasure only cannot result in happiness, because animals are driven by the pursuit of pleasure. And according to Aristotle, man has greater capacity than animals. Instead, he put forward the term eudaimonia. To explain simply, eudaimonia is defined as activity expressing virtue, or what Aristotle conceives as happiness. Aristotle's theory of happiness was as follows. The function of a man is to live a certain kind of life, and this activity implies a rational principle, and the function of a good man is the good and noble performance of these. And if any action is well performed, it is performed in accord with the appropriate excellence. If this is the case, then happiness turns out to be an activity of the soul in accordance with virtue. According to Aristotle, happiness consists in achieving through the course of whole lifetime all the goods, health, wealth, knowledge, friends, etc. that leads to the perfection of human nature and to the enrichment of human life. This requires us to make choices, some of which may be very difficult. Often, the lesser good promises immediate pleasure and is more tempting, while the greater good is painful and requires some sort of sacrifice. For example, it may be easier and more enjoyable to spend a night watching Netflix, but you know that you will be better off if you spend time in researching for your term paper. Developing a good character requires a strong effort of will to do the right thing, even in the difficult situations. Aristotle would be strongly critical of the culture of instant gratification, which seems to be the predominant in our society. Nicomachean Ethics 1095b 20. Later in the Ethics, Aristotle draws attention to the concept of akrasia, or weakness of the will, which is also caused to chase the instant gratification. Talking together all the various theories and finding on happiness, we know that there are at least a few factors that are very important for overall happiness, like personal income, physical health, family, social relationships, moral values. All of these factors can contribute to a happy life, but researchers have found that good relationships and lifelong growth in all aspects of your life are a vital ingredient. A key component of Aristotle's theory of happiness is the factor of virtue. He contended that in aiming for happiness, the most important factor to have is complete virtue, or in other words, good moral character, constant growth, and choosing the right thing which gives meaning, instead of falling for the instant gratification trap. So, to avoid instant gratification and choose the path for lifelong growth and happiness, Subscribe to our channel for more such informative videos and share it with your friends and family. If you found valuable insights in this video, then raise your finger and smash that like icon. YouTube's algorithm will handle the rest of the process. We will meet you in another episode of Mature Beings. Until then, work hard.